Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Tennessee Two's Disc Golf Podcast. This is episode 9. My name is Ethan Jenkins, and joined here beside me is my co host, Daniel Bacon. Um, we appreciate everybody coming in, and we've got a very special guest tonight. We will bring them in just a moment. We're going to cover a few topics. I'm going to let Daniel go over our roll call.
Yeah, absolutely. Today there's not so much going on. So we went ahead and brought in some special guests that we were really excited to talk to. We've got a couple of great topics that we're going to talk to them about. We'll get to that once we drag them in here and introduce them. After that, one of the two is probably going to be leaving us, and the other one has agreed to stay on and continue talking with us through a few topics. Shouldn't take too long. A couple of things we want to talk about. There was a little bit of Twitter drama this week that I wanted to talk about. Foundation Disc Golf, I want to talk about whether their type of media is good for disc golf. We are going to each pick our dream skin match because GK Pro announced they've redoing their skins series this year. And then we're both going to go ahead and draft all stars as if Ethan was Eagle and I was Calvin. And we're going to make some teams
I
and
can
see who we
crush.
think has got the best. Yeah, I wanted to take Eagle, but I was like, you've got the forehand.
Yeah.
I don't
Thank you.
have
I
a
appreciate
forehand.
that.
So I had to give you Eagle because I don't have a forehand, right? So
I'm okay with it. I'm okay
I
with
can
it.
and I can hit some decently good like low ceiling backhand drives. So
Hmm.
that's Calvin's specialty. So I
You're right.
figured play it into to the closest we can
Yeah,
get.
yeah,
When the
definitely.
draft is over, you'll have to
Just
pretend that I'm Calvin and he's Eagle, and you guys can all vote who is going to win
right.
based on their teams.
You'll have to let us know in the reviews since we are now on all of the podcast platforms.
Do we hit Google?
We did.
You didn't even tell me,
I'm sorry.
bro. You see, this guy doesn't
See,
even keep
look,
me
I'm
informed on
sorry.
what's going on, man.
But yeah, I had to make I had to make another Gmail account. I thought you would see the email. I'm sorry. Um,
Um, my
not Gmail
email
account. It went.
gives
I had to make another Google account. Anyways, but yeah,
yeah, my email gives me like a quarter of my actual notifications.
I know
I have
what
to
you
check it
mean.
daily.
I know what you mean. That is a common problem. Um, but yeah, Jesse in chat hashtag Team Eagle. I say, look,
Bro, you don't even know what the teams look like
it
yet.
doesn't
Come
matter.
on.
It doesn't matter.
Bro,
Oh
I'm gonna
man.
draft better.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. We'll give you first pick. So,
No, you got first pick. Your first seed.
oh, that's even better. So, first off, I would like to congratulate Mr. Simon Lazat on the birth of his new baby, Emmett. That happened today. So, this podcast will always be on Emmett's birthday. You just got to think about it like that. So, but yeah, that's cool.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats. I know he'll never see this, but still, you got to put those
And
out there.
you don't
And
know that.
yeah, I mean, it's possible, I guess.
I'm gonna clip that section and I'm gonna post it and tag him.
There you go. There you go. See, that's clever. That's good marketing.
There we go.
That's good marketing. But so anything you want to cover right now before we get into it, or let's go ahead and drag them in.
No, nothing in particular. Let's go ahead and bring him
Okay.
on in.
Yeah, bring them on in. That's you,
I
because I
was.
can't do it.
Did you? Are they good to go?
Oh, yeah, I probably should send them a quick
Yeah.
message.
How was your
Yeah,
week? Did you do
you
anything
know.
fun in the disc golf world?
So I played. I played the course that me and my wife uh are playing doubles at this weekend.
How'd that go?
Not great. I took a good chunk out of my finger from
Oh no.
sharp edge on a forehand, and it just chunked it. And I'm like, wow, that's not
Nice.
good. So the
All
last
right.
four holes, no forehand at all.
No, no. Yeah, I didn't do anything super crazy. I did go back to the site of my 8 spit outs on the disc catcher baskets.
Okay, yeah.
Fortunately, it is my home course, and I got to tell you what, the worst thing was I missed all 4 of the must get birdies on this hole or on this course. but I birdied 4 holes that I've never birdied on this course ever before. Posted my best round on this course that I've ever had. And according to the ratings from the tournament, if I had thrown this round in the tournament, it would have been 1,000 rated.
That would have been nice.
That would have been nice, but you know what? I have realized this week actually that one of the things I need to overcome in the tournament scheme is the longer times between throws, staying
Yeah.
warm, staying loose, staying active, not letting my mind wander so much. Um, that was something that going out and playing this round kind of reminded me is that there's a little bit of a slower pace in the tournament scene, and I've got to
Right.
be a little more prepared coming up in the next couple of tournaments to play on at that speed. So it was a good learning experience to go. Plus, it was just exciting to birdie 4 holes I've never birdied before.
That's always
Mr.
a good thing.
1K rated for.
Yeah,
Well,
very nice.
my official
Congrats.
rating doesn't look anything like that. I have shot two
You
1,000 rated, two estimated 1,000 rated rounds in the last 6 months, which is more than I had thrown in the last 9 years that I've been playing disc golf. So
That's good. You should
there
get
we
your
go.
rating Tuesday. Mine should update
Uh, it
Tuesday.
was it was actually today,
Oh, today, ratings day. I didn't know that.
Tennessee Tuesday.
Tennessee Tuesday. Jesse in chat's like, new plastic's always a good week. Guess what I got?
What'd you get?
I got a new Cax.
And how's it feel?
It is identical, except it's blue instead of red. So, and
Beautiful.
it flies just like a new one. It's stable, really, really stable. It's like right in
Nice.
between. It's perfect. I needed it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
the
help a lot.
one of the good things that came out of this round that I played yesterday was I started to notice I'm getting a little more comfortable with those EV7s that I
That's
grabbed
yeah, that's good.
a couple weeks ago. They're starting to feel a little bit better in the hand. I can actually one of the things that's nice is they're so glidey. I can slow down my putt a little bit, not come into the basket with so much speed, which is helping with some of the rollaways as well when I am missing.
Nice.
So I'm starting to stay inside of, 10, 15 feet, even when I miss, as opposed to rolling away to 25
Yeah,
feet or
that's a
spitting out.
huge bonus right there.
So that's been really nice.
Yeah. All right, so they are ready. They
All right,
are
we're gonna
ready. We're
pull them
gonna go
in.
ahead and bring them in.
Give them a second. They're gonna turn on their camera for us.
There we go. What's up,
Hey
guys?
guys, can you hear
Hello.
okay?
Yep.
Hey, hey.
Yep.
Awesome.
We can hear you, and they can
Sounds
hear
good.
you. That's even better. All right.
Even better.
Turn it down just a hair, and
Looks like we're
boom.
set up.
There we
Oh
go.
yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So, guys, this is Craig and Jarren. Um, Craig is the founder and owner of Idio Sports Footwear, disc golf footwear, and Jarren is Agati. Is that how I say it?
Agati Wellness.
Agati Wellness. Okay, I didn't. I should have asked earlier, but I was just gonna wing it. I was like, it's got to be Agati.
It's one of those things that kind of creates more engagement with people, so it's kind of like a business strategy.
Yeah, it's like
How'd
That's
you say
right.
that?
well, it worked on me because here I am. The next question I was gonna ask is, where did the name come from? What does it mean? You know?
Yeah, so Agati is actually a Buddhist um, Sanskrit translation for to for origin or to come back to. So
Okay,
the whole idea is like the message is like, let's bring you back to wellness or let's bring you back to your original state of movement.
I like it.
Saying you were born without, some
Right,
kind of functional disability.
right.
Strong business names. We're all about it.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you're right there
Uh,
with them, Craig.
Mhm.
where are you guys based out of?
We're in Southern California.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
Orange County.
It'll be a
Born and
little rough
raised.
for you. Unfortunately, that's a Giants jersey right there. So
That's
man
all
beat
right.
Croc.
They're
I
like,
don't even pay attention to that side of sports. So
yeah.
That was our grandfather.
There you go.
we're disc golf and extreme sports.
That's
Oh,
yeah.
beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
guys watching the
So.
Olympics at all with all those extreme sports?
I'll watch the snowboarding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Snowboarding and skiing, slope style. It's
Yeah.
always fun to watch Shaun White, still cranking at his age, which is
Absolutely.
amazing. Guy's a beast.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll tell you what. That's always my favorite thing is the slope style, the half pipe, and then I get really into some of the alpine skiing too, just because
Yeah,
it's
that's
really
cool
fun to
too.
watch.
Yeah.
Really fun to watch those moguls and giant moguls or giant
How about
snowboards.
curling, huh?
Hey, I'm
Oh my
about
gosh,
it. I
I'm
done. I said on. I literally said on the last podcast. I was like, if disc golf don't work out for me, I was like, I'm gonna make a professional out of myself in curling. I was like, I don't know where I'm gonna find the ice at, but lately, I think that's what started. Is lately because Tennessee, where we're at, we've been getting so much more snow and ice than we've ever gotten.
Oh
Like, yeah, it's not usual.
yeah.
But yeah,
Meanwhile, for me, it's really funny because this is one of my first winters here in Tennessee, and I'm originally from Nevada, and they got up in Lake Tahoe like I don't know something like 10 feet of snow in December alone, or something
Okay.
ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was you could literally see on the side of highways it was towering over the cars. It was ridiculous, fun to
yeah,
see.
That's good.
not with it.
Intimidating.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my Instagram followers. Hey guys, just
Absolutely.
want to mention that you can hear me and that you can hear the boys here on the computer. Everything loud and clear. Give me an okay.
Yep, for
Thanks,
sure.
guys.
Yeah, you gotta go with the
That's what I did. I just
yeah.
did
So now,
sideways.
thanks.
Is it good?
Hey,
Yeah.
it's a
Nah, bro.
nationwide thing now.
It's
Yeah.
I did it before it was cool. All right.
Yeah.
Johnny Tsunami came out on Disney Channel.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
no.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That was a good era.
Okay. All right. So I guess we'll get started off with so a lot of our audience will probably be newer listeners, newer to disc golf. Um, so explain why we need a specific disc golf shoe.
Um, so despite the obvious things in the instances in durability, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're tearing apart our running shoes, our hiking shoes, which are typically more durable, but yet still, a hiking shoe is not reinforced where it needs to be. Specifically, the sidewalls tend to blow out because of that sandwich construction, and if you're a toe dragger, which a lot of people are, it's not a big deal. Yeah, hey, we uh we skip that toe across the ground, usually where the big toe is on the inside trailing foot.
Yep.
So we have protection against that, and the materials that we use are also very abrasion resistant and can take a lot of stress as well. So all durability things aside, there's a lot of performance aspects that we don't consider in our normal footwear, or we just have a hard time getting to. Um, and some of those things being, which we'll probably go into, is say the power plant heel, which is it's a relief in the heel that allows you to pivot off that plant foot. Um, in most people's disc golf swing, you drive through the disc and back through the heel.
Right.
And is what ends up happening is as you drive back through that heel, if you watch slow motion of Simon or Girthy does it well, Hamas, I mean, a lot of the top pros, you will see that plant foot eventually has to release from that external rotation that the knee is going through.
Right.
Something has to give, and hopefully it's not the knee. So
Right.
we developed the power plant heel here, which is the relief point. So when you do get to that tipping point, it allows the foot to come up,
It gives it.
pivot,
It allows it
in,
that motion.
and release. Yeah. So
Yeah.
from a performance aspect and a safety aspect, that's a big one.
Yeah. That's
Um,
huge.
and just overall, the overall shape of the shoe is performance driven. If you're familiar with Ultra, or anybody out there familiar with Ultra, they have a very they're known for having a wide toe box,
Right.
which is awesome. It's a lot better for foot health. Allows your foot to sort of spread out and allows the toes to kind of move independently. Um, but it's a little too wide for our sport. And I mean
Right.
that I've tried disc golfing in ultras, and unless you have a really wide foot, that
Mm-hmm.
fits the shape a little better. And Ultra's a fantastic company. I have like 8 pairs. But I
Right.
find my foot with not enough support, my foot will shift within the shoe. And it's that millisecond of shift in your swing that throws you out of place.
Yeah.
And it's a little awkward having that. And eventually you kind of rub the bottom of your foot raw and you'll get hot spots by the end of the day. But so it's wider than a running shoe. It is not as wide as like an ultra toe box. But it just kind of caresses your foot oh so nice. It keeps everything in place and allows that weight to transfer and everything to plant down on it. Um, and then going into just the drop of a shoe, and is what drop is how much the heel is elevated over the contact patch of the toe or the forefoot.
Right.
And a shoe like a that has a zero drop. Ultras have zero drop, as well as what's the brand you like to wear?
Vivos.
Yeah, Vivos are known for their zero drop. That means the heel and the contact point of the foot are at the same elevation. Correct, which is awesome. It's great for foot health. It's great for Achilles health. But our shoe is still a minimal 6 degrees, so the heel is raised just 6 degrees over. Um, we did that because we didn't want our first shoe to force people into a zero drop shoe because
Right.
it can be dangerous. It can cause injuries if you're not used to it.
Right. So
So the first thing, yeah,
if you were to be wearing something, I don't know how drastic the angles are, but if you were wearing a shoe with like a 8 degree, um,
sure.
or a 12, what is probably the highest out there? You think?
8 to 12 is a pretty standard range.
Okay, so if you went from wearing those your entire life into a zero drop, you're kind of extending your Achilles tendon the entire time, right?
Yeah, and with how athletic our sport is and how much power you're putting behind your movements
Mm-hmm.
and how much you're demanding out of your flexibility, it's like overload.
Right.
But if you're used to it, if you've been in flats for a long time, sandals with no drop, or if your body's used to it, it'll be accustomed to it. But if not, yeah, it's gonna cause some problems. So.
So like Crocs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Crocs are probably zero drop, right?
No, I'm not sure. No?
I'm pretty sure they're zero drop for the most part. They have a little arch support.
I guarantee you there was probably 3 years of my life where I only wore Crocs.
They can't come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Kind of coming up
I
back in the weightlifting scene.
Oh,
Weird.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll probably get a lot of hate for this, but I've been a Croc hater my entire life. I've never worn a pair of Crocs. Can't stand them,
You're one of
dude. I
those.
can't stand them.
Well, you can
Can
be you
you?
can be an Idio lover. How about that?
Oh, absolutely. Hopefully, I'll have the chance. Can you go into maybe a little bit about the tread design? I know it's a pretty unique tread design compared to like the common trail runner, which is what a lot of us wear.
Mhm.
I wear Under Armour trail runners myself pretty consistently, um, and they wear down pretty quickly. I find that after a few months, I'll start slipping on T pads a little more often, and then when I start slipping on T pads, I'm really slipping out in the grass or the dirt or something like that, having a pretty heavy front foot.
Yeah.
Um, being, a baseball history for me personally, there's so much more that goes into the lower body power side in baseball, and I've translated that to disc golf. I really need to have like a strong tread. So can you go into the tread design that you guys have used and maybe the materials that keep that tread nice and strong for a long period of time?
Yeah, yeah, and I'll try to describe it as best as I can for the audio only listeners. But It's a multi-directional tread design, which means it'll grip in any stance. Excuse me. Unlike a running shoe, which is directional, and
Hmm.
it's made to sort of pack in dirt towards the back as it grips down to propel you forward. But we don't need that in disc golf too often. Is what we need is that side to side planting pattern. And so it's multi-directional to allow you to do that no matter the stance or the type of lie or the conditions. And the tread itself is spread out in a wide enough fashion that it will more easily kind of fleck out mud and debris that might get stuck in between the lugs themselves.
Right.
Did you kind of come up with that design by studying things like maybe cleats or like even golf cleats, if you will, where they have kind of that similar omnidirectionals based treads,
I
if you
got
will?
the design off of tires, actually.
I was going with
Interesting.
mud tires. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Tires have a whole lot of industry research into gripping on dirt and gripping on different concrete, and we use what we know. And I worked in the bicycle industry for a long time. I'm a huge mountain biker and cyclist myself, and so it's just one of those things like studying tires and changing tires out depending on the conditions or the trail itself or where I'm riding is always a consideration if you're a biker. Like there's a huge, you know,
Right.
discord for just tire selection. And then that with also kind of what is working in the industry already. And then it was just a matter of kind of refining the design and testing the the density of the rubber itself to see what performed the best.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So yeah, just to further that question, what material are we using if it's not proprietary and secret, if you will, on the outer
Secret.
soles?
It's
Secret.
it's an industry rubber.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, nothing secret, but it's just particular to the density and suppleness and hardness of it.
So, one of the things that I got kind of cleaned to with the Idio brand um, was the natural footing, um, where it looks like my foot would have enough room, you know, um, especially since I am a person who definitely has very flat, wide feet. um,
Mhm.
and, you know, kind of, do you think that this will provide comfort um, with somebody that has like a flatter foot or a wider foot in general, you think?
Yeah, I do. And we've had a couple of wide foot testers that have really enjoyed them. They've been more of a comfortable fitting shoe for them versus other options that they've been exposed to before.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tester that we spoke, a little bit before, and you have that issue where your foot is on the wide side, and typically you'll see that it's hanging out over
Right.
the outsole. Um, and I had a tester who had that same issue, and although his is still slightly hanging out there because these aren't as wide as like I said, like an
Like the
ultra
ultra.
box, but they are still wide enough to allow some of that pressure relief. So it has been a comfort or a comfortable option for some of the wider feet users.
That's
Yeah.
awesome and relieving to hear. Um,
Yeah.
because I know I'm not alone. You know, people that still like to throw and just got odd feet. That's me. But
Yeah.
you know,
Everyone's different. All of
yeah,
our
everyone's different, and that's the cool thing.
it's
Except
cool,
for
but it's also hard to
that's what I
design
was
for.
about to say. I was like,
Yeah.
until you have to design something that fits everybody,
Yeah, yeah. When there's
it's
no standards,
impossible.
it makes it kind of tough. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So building off of that, actually, somebody like me, I don't particularly have narrow feet, but I definitely don't have wide feet. However, unlike him, who has a flat arch, I actually have a very high raised arch. And so I struggle with a lot of trail runners because they tend to be very flat on the insoles. So my arches start to fall over long periods of time out on the course. Um, Now, is there anything that this particular shoe is going to be doing for me, or am I still going to need to be replacing those insoles for my high arches?
Well, I can let Jarren kind of jump on this one a little bit, as he's a little more in tune with body mechanics. But yeah, there's lots of different reasons that go into high arches or flat-footed or anything
Right.
like that. And these individual circumstances do change, but ultimately, it's about addressing why. See, you've got Daniel high arches, and Ethan, you have flat feet, right?
Right.
And it's about addressing what is causing that and trying to correct it.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So it's really easy to think that like if you have a flat foot or high arch, that the muscles in your feet aren't working right. That I think most people would probably assume that. But where you really want to think about is like the upper chain of command. So things you want to think about is am I getting a lot of compression in my rib cage that's not allowing my ribs to expand and send air properly, so that I can activate certain muscles in my hips. So if you have a flat arch or a high arch, I like to see what's going on in the hip first. As it comes to footwear, I don't think one shoe is like better than the other. It just depends on the context that you're trying to implement the shoe.
Sure.
So it was Ethan, right?
Right.
You're talking about like earlier, like what's the best shoe to wear if I have a flat foot?
Right.
Well, it depends on the context that you're trying to get out of your footwear. If you're trying to create more of an arch support, you'd probably want to go with like a minimalist shoe. Because if you have like an arch support in your shoe, then the shoe's doing the work for you. So what
Right.
you'd want to do is probably switch to like a more minimalist shoe like Craig's shoe, where there's little arch support, you have a wider toe box, you have more access to your foot. But then you want to also be able to train your foot to pronate, which is what your foot is overly doing. So it's overly flattened, which is good. We need a degree of pronation in our gait cycle, but you also need to access that supination. And that could
Okay.
all start from the hip or looking at different like compensations happening in the body because of a distortion going on somewhere else. I don't
Right.
know if that answered your guys' question.
It
No,
definitely, yeah.
absolutely, totally did. Actually, as I was walking into the gym this morning, I was noticing that I was a little bit sore, particularly from the hips down. And I'm a very, straight walker overall, but I could see the soreness was pulling on my foot. I was actually walking a little pigeon-toed with my left foot, which is something I've literally never done in my entire life. So
Yeah.
that totally understand what you're talking about there.
Yeah, so if you have that high arch and you're getting like that duck waddle, you probably have a really externally rotated pelvis. Whereas Ethan, you probably have a really internally rotated pelvis. So if this is like each side of the pelvis, internal rotation is coming inward, which is also going to force the head of your femur to come inward and also um, start to flatten your foot because it goes down the chain of command. Whereas if it's externally rotated, the femurs are going to go out. You're going to get more of that lateral side of the foot, so higher arches, and the feet are going to duck out a little bit.
So, I mean, that makes so much sense. You know what I mean? Like that opens my mind. I'm like, okay. I mean, we were talking earlier, and uh, you guys had mentioned just off of one picture that I sent of the inside of my shoe. There was like, and you guys were like, yeah, you probably walk, and I had to explain that I do walk pretty straight. My feet doesn't really point inward or outward, but with that being said, they knew that my knees were inward, you know. And I'm gonna be honest, I got some thunder thighs, so I don't know how they get inward like that, but but they definitely do. I was standing out there earlier, and I was like, how have I never really noticed this? I should be taking better care of myself, I guess. But so I guess kind of, if you don't care, Jarren, give us a little bit of what we could do to kind of help. negate that issue or help kind of fix it?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's a little hard to answer over a podcast. Like
Right.
in
Right.
my line of work, that's why I have like an assessment protocol. Um, but a lot of the times, if you have, we'll take the flat foot for example. If you have like a really flattening foot, your femurs are internally rotated. I'm probably going to try to get your skeletal position into a place where you can receive external rotation without feeling stress.
Okay.
So you can use implements like a foam roller to create some muscle activation because muscle activation is really important depending on the position of your skeletal body. Because muscles do different things depending on the orientation of the muscular or the skeletal system. So I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but you would probably benefit a little bit more from like some glute activation. So something that would um, do you know what an isometric is? An isometric is you're essentially just holding a muscle in a contracted state for a period of time.
Okay.
So isometric work of the glute in a certain position of hip extension.
So like a wall sit.
Not exactly. More like a what would be called I'll just use kind of a lazy example. It's called a bird dog. So you're kind of on all fours
Mm-hmm.
and your leg is sticking straight behind you.
Okay.
But what you would want to do is you would want to activate your glute and then come into a position where you can sense the arch and big toe of your foot. And essentially, what you're trying to do is you're trying to teach your nervous system to accept certain positions in your skeleton position. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if I did that and I got a cramp, what did that mean?
It means you don't have enough
It,
potassium.
it could it could mean a
because
lot. Uh-huh.
because like if I do stretch, sometimes all the way out and I point my toes downward and I try to, because I have um kind of tried to work on my feet a little bit before and they the cramps are there for some reason. Usually on the one that I hadn't injured, which is weird, I guess. But
Yeah. So if a cramp happens, I would honestly like what I would do with a client is just put them in a different position that's trying to achieve the same goal.
okay,
Because a cramp is going to happen because there's compensation going on somewhere else, or if the muscle is in a position where it's like your nervous system's just like we're not accepting this,
right,
you'd want to kind of change the format.
okay,
So unfortunately, it's not like a simple answer.
Yeah,
and
I think something important to point out there in particular is you'd mentioned the cramping happens in the foot that you haven't injured in the past, and as he was kind of explaining there, a lot of times you start compensating for that, even if you don't have the injury anymore, whether it's a lack of strength going on that particular side of the body, or even just like a unconscious fear of injuring it again, then you start favoring that side naturally. And as we all know, injuries can create more injuries, which is why it's so important that we should be, resting our bodies when we take those injuries and then, stressing those out in healthy ways to get them back up to strength.
right,
And that's a great word that you just used is stressing them out because I think there's a huge context of people thinking that stress is a bad thing. Stress is only a bad thing if it's all you know. And so there's levels of stress, like working out is a level of stress, right? But there's a
Right.
benefit to it. So it's just, again, it always comes back to relativity.
Yeah. So that's so I mean, have some minor personal training experience in my past. That's what we call it
Oh,
stressing
cool.
out in a healthy way, doing the
Right.
things that are going to benefit your body. But, when you get injured and stuff like that, for me, like I've had a multitude of injuries. I'm 5 surgeries deep at 27 years old. And that doesn't include any of the injuries I've had since I was 20. All of those were pre 20. But,
Stacking up.
Yep.
yeah,
yeah, for my wife, both my wife and I having played, she played collegiate level softball and I played collegiate level baseball.
Mhm.
This is something that we really focused on is how do you get those injured body parts strengthened back up, and then also trusting that body part again, because that can be one of the biggest mental blocks naturally
Exactly.
is getting out there, and then you don't trust that body part anymore to perform its function properly, which starts causing injuries to other parts of your body.
Yeah. And that's the important thing is, one of my bigger injuries was I shattered my left heel.
Oh no,
And so the recovery was 6
sounds
months
bad.
long. Yeah, just in a cast, 6 months. And that's not including the rehabilitation afterwards.
Right.
And
Right.
knowing the importance of having to, you start walking again, but like with your prior injuries, you learn to favor the one side and stay off of the injury.
Right.
And it's still hard to mentally retrain yourself to trust in that part again. And I think that's one of the key takeaways is just being able to, like we were talking about, stress, safe stress, but being able to retrain the nervous system to relearn the movement. Otherwise, it won't really be ingrained.
Right.
And like you said, yeah, we keep causing injuries because when one thing fails, our body does an amazing job of compensating and making everything else kind of take over, but then that wears stress in those areas. So unless you kind of go back to the beginning of the chain and fix it, you just sort of keep compounding on compounding the issue.
Yeah. I can definitely, relate to everything that you just said.
I think we all can as we
Yeah.
get older.
Yeah. So, I might be bad to bring up, but how did you shatter your heel? Was it?
How did I shatter it? Mountain
Yeah,
biking.
I figured it was mountain biking, but you're back out there doing it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, so you are a good what would we call that?
Example.
Example. There we go. I lost everything
I,
there for a second.
I didn't know what the next thought was, so
My
I was
fuse
trying to read
blew
your mind
up
there.
there. I had to replace it real quick. But yeah, that's you're a good example of retraining your nervous system to trust, you know, your injury, basically. You know,
Yeah. Trying to. We're always trying to kind of work and improve.
right? Um.
Um,
Okay. You want to go, or I'm gonna go?
yeah, mine's gonna be really quick,
All
so
right, go ahead.
you can go after me. Yours will probably be longer than me.
You bet.
Can you talk to us a little bit about how you feel that the impact resistance of your soles may compare to some of the other brands on the market? For me personally, I struggle with my knees, having played sports literally all my life, playing football. I was a catcher when I played baseball, so my knees are pretty torn up. So for me personally, impact resistance is a pretty big thing.
Yeah, impact resistance is kind of it's a tough one to dig into, um, because it really does also depend on the anatomy and the individual. And
Right.
so I don't want to speculate on any of that. Uh, there's some shoe companies out there that have some super ultra cushy midsoles that are just
Right.
like looking on clouds, they'd say, right?
Yeah.
And for some, that's great and it can provide them some relief. But for others, depending on your gait cycle and what you rely on, it could cause additional knee issues.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah. It's something because for me being such a heavy planner on my legs, because in baseball, all the power comes from your lower body, so you have to be able to trust your equipment. So you don't want something that's too soft, or again, like you talked about, with too wide of a footbed, because you're going to be sliding around in there. But overall, it sounds like you've designed a good product that you can trust out on the course.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm
round
super
round after
excited
round.
to.
Mhm.
I'm super excited to get my feet on a pair. For
Well, I'm
sure.
excited to get them out. So
Um,
can't stress enough how much I appreciate all the
I
supporters and everybody waiting on it and backing it early and just trusting in the process. And it's coming as fast as we can get them to you guys.
so that's another question that I had is how did the whole Kickstarter process propel you? Um, did did you? I know you reached your goal, um, but were you kind of overwhelmed with the support,
Oh
or
yeah.
I?
Oh yeah.
It was growing fast.
Yeah.
That the disc golf community is obviously wanting this. It it shows they need it.
Yeah,
We
absolutely. And the Kickstarter is like just a very solid example of how
hmm
much it goes. Um, proof of concept right there. And I really wanted to launch it on Kickstarter because for that reason, like it would tell us if that was a valid
right.
a valid concept, a valid thing that the community wanted and needed, and it definitely showed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was ecstatic to find out that disc golf was getting their own shoe. You know what? As if you're a new player coming into the sport, and if you're anything like I was, the first couple rounds, okay, here's a couple discs. Your buddy gives you, you're like, all right, let's throw these and stuff. But the moment that you get hooked, you start looking for everything. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You start looking
a
for
game
everything.
sport. Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like the more hands that we can get on these shoes, the faster that it's just gonna explode, really, because word of mouth is still to this day the best form of growth.
Yeah, and
Um,
we have a great form of that in the
yeah,
disc golf.
it is because you know leagues, tournaments, whatever. Somebody's out there wearing Idio shoes and they're out there ripping drives, and you're like, I don't know what your disc did, but bro, your feet, they looking good. It's like, what are you wearing? Like, and because
So look good,
I've
feel
asked,
good, huh?
yeah, and if you don't care, I I bounce around a lot. I do this. I'm a rambler, but I did warn you. Um, the
That's
dragon,
pretty
the dragon toe.
responsible. Yeah,
Do you call it the dragon toe or the dragon toe?
sure. Dragon tail makes it
Yeah,
easy.
it does. It's
It's
an
top of the
awesome
dragon
name
tail.
to put
Yeah,
on the end of a shoe, you know.
yeah,
But I really played on those words. But I I'm gonna go get a shoe here in just a minute, and I will show you what my toe does.
yeah. Okay.
Um, to my previous pair of shoes, and while I do that, do you care to kind of go over how far up um the the toe support goes, and kind of how much it can withstand, I guess it would be a good reason, like, and which T pads have kind of been tried on it.
Yeah, we've had everything from concrete to turf to dirt. Obviously, concrete is the one that we're concerned with,
Mm-hmm.
as far as the wear on the toe goes. But just I think probably the biggest benefit is that the toe cap is an extension.
Yeah.
It's an extension of the outsole, so it's seamless. Um, there's no seam here that's going to blow out or roll. It provides a bigger contact patch for construction and gluing. So it's just going to hold longer.
Yeah.
I think we found a good balance between how thick it is, and then not looking terrible, right, or being too
Yeah.
heavy.
I think it
A
looks
size,
awesome. I really
thank
do.
you. A size 11 shoe weighs 12 ounces.
Okay.
So
I would not have.
despite,
I would have figured it
yeah,
would have weighed more
despite
than that.
correct. Yeah, but I think we were just able to shave a lot of weight by reinforcing areas that needed to be reinforced, um, and 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 not areas that don't, right? But we've had some toe dragging testers with about 60 hours of use on their shoe, and haven't run through the dragon yet.
Hey, that's
So
that's awesome to hear
I think
right
it's
there.
pretty good. It's gonna at least wear at the same rate as your outsole is gonna wear, you know?
Right.
I can't
Right.
I can't design to everybody. It's impossible, but I can try to design to some standards. And one of the big things we see is people with some serious drag, toe
Mhm.
drag. They'll wear that toe out because it's just mesh way before their tread wears out, and they'll have tons of life left on the
Right.
shoe from any standpoint, but it's
Right.
unusable because that toe's gone already. So at least it will wear to the rate of the outsole.
I think you have done a fantastic job of taking advice and looking things up and, researching on what makes disc golfers, um, what makes their foot health better. Because, if anybody is dragging their toe over a period of time and it goes, it starts going through like mine did, and I kept playing with them, it can't be good for your foot. Um, so, not only are you saving on materials by using the same outsole, you're increasing the durability and the safety of the shoe, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. I really do appreciate the research you did on all of that.
Well, thank you very much. And I can't take full credit for it. I was able to, find contact with some people from the footwear industry, some consultants that were able to really take what I did and apply it. So
Mhm.
it's not like, it's not like me, like Joe Schmo, just kind of like doing what I think is best. I was able to employ some really talented people in the industry to take it through that process to the next level, and actually apply the concepts in the
Yep.
correct way.
The best leaders are the ones who put the people, beside them that can find out the right things,
That's right.
do the right things. All right, Daniel. I'm gonna go grab that shoe right quick. I should have brought it with me, but yeah, you grab. If you, I know you got questions, so I shall return.
I always got questions. So for me, particularly, a lot of the things that I'm focusing on tonight is just materials and concept of design. Can you take us through maybe some of the materials that you're using on the shell of the shoe? Are they waterproof, not waterproof, breathable, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
How's my foot gonna feel if it's 95 degrees and humid outside? You know what I mean? 'Cause that's a
Yeah.
big thing for me is comfort outside of
Well,
the walking as well.
when I started designing this shoe, I lived in Oregon, so I kind of had the Pacific Northwest on mind, and I wanted to make a waterproof shoe. So this one is waterproof. The membrane runs all the way up to the collar, and then the tongue is, you can't see it, but the tongue is stitched inside up high with that liner. So it's a fully waterproof shoe. That being said, it's still a lightweight mesh material. Like I said, 12 ounces for a size 11 shoe.
Yeah.
Right.
And it breathes very well. It flexes very well. Um, I have some players, one of which a big name that will be announced shortly,
Ooh,
uh, hopefully this week, out in
even more.
out in Arizona, playing in the shoe, and didn't even know they were waterproof.
Really?
Because they were so breathable that he had to ask, "Is there a waterproof version coming? Because I'm worried about if I play in some rainy weather." I said, "You know what? You got it right there in your hand." So
I was about to throw some guesses out there, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna save it. All right. We don't need any reactions. If people gonna be digging in.
We're,
But,
we're going to talk about the TMZ disc golf later, okay? We're not the TMZ of disc golf right now.
okay, so there is my old shoe. You can see very well um, how much of a hole is there,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
and how
You
much.
is that your trailing foot?
No,
So you're
well,
wearing
so yes, on my forehand, because I am forehand dominant, but it is my right foot. Um,
oh, okay.
that comes around. So I'm a toe dragger when I forehand.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I have no part in this conversation. I'm not a toe dragger, to be
Right.
honest. That's
So your forehand, we create power
Hmm.
um, by rotating our hips
Right.
through the shot,
right.
right? And thus there's a theory called Goda, which Jarren knows a lot more about. But as you rotate through that shot with the forehand, your body and your knee rotates inward to create power. Well, so your foot is rolling inward like this, and for whatever reason, you're keeping your body low, or maybe there's not enough stability in your plant leg. Whatever the reason is, this foot is not getting up off the ground and returning. It's just dragging
Right.
across the ground that way until it gets back.
Which is
Um,
probably also hurting my distance. Um,
well, maybe not because you are getting through the shot. You're
right.
just not
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
you're
just
just not returning.
I'm
If
forcing
you,
it.
Like you said, it's part of your way of generating power. So for me, again, the baseball background, I'm gonna mention it 7 more times tonight. Don't worry about it. So for me, my natural, even I don't forehand very often, but when I was better at forehanding before my wrist surgeries, um, having a baseball background, I open the foot early like a pitcher would, if you will. So I don't have that issue, just
yeah.
because of that early hip rotation.
See, I could send some pictures to you or Jarren and kind of let y'all see, like, or video slow mo videos. I have those of my forehand where you can see, what's happening,
We'll
and
take a
my
look and comment on some of the maybe structural things that we see, but
right.
we are not coaches and don't claim to
Yeah,
to
for
coach.
sure. I could never claim anything. I'm nothing. But um so yeah, I don't know. I just get excited talking about um
Yeah, fun
all of
subject. That's why we love what we do.
all of the
Yeah,
Absolutely.
advances,
yeah.
that's just it intrigues me, I guess. But
Um,
yeah, go ahead.
So, I think we've pretty well touched the basic design of the shoe for all of our listeners. I'm
Hmm.
sure most of your listeners have heard all of this a few times and they're not too intrigued by all of it, but I'm sure there's something that they would like to, hear more about is what are your goals in terms of the next few years as you start building a name and a brand? Obviously, today, if I were to go, look up disc golf shoes, the first thing that's going to pop up is Adidas Terex, right? However, your name is starting to creep up that list in terms
Yeah.
of how high
Starting
it
to
comes up in
populate
the Google search.
organically, by the way, because I know nothing about analytics.
Right.
So that's really cool.
So so as we start seeing your name pop up, you're going to be producing a little bit more. What are your goals in the next few years, maybe in terms of like designing a new shoe on top of that? So like for somebody like me who might not need the toe dragon, if you will,
Yeah.
or something like that. But do you have any plans?
Yeah. Well, with the dragon toe, it's there if you need it. If you
Right.
don't,
Right.
then you won't notice, which is great. But the Kickstarter really propelled me a lot further than I anticipated. And I mean that in the most positive sense. Yeah, I've put everything that we made from the Kickstarter back into one, the disc golf industry, and two, back into growing this company into the future. And part of that is player endorsements and contracts that I'm currently working on. That's going back into the industry, it's going back to our players. Another part of that is, yes, the next model, which I'll tell you, I've already retained my designers to start working on it.
Awesome.
It's a long process,
Yeah.
but I want to get started on it early. And so, just to kind of keep things just rolling and evolving. And
Right.
I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just what any company would do, footwear or not, is to try and keep expanding my lineup and offerings and keep evolving, keep learning, keep integrating into our sport and culture and become a really important thread to disc golf.
And that's so cool that it's happening organically too. You know,
Mhm.
that's got to be um, very nice knowing that the community is backing you hard enough for it to climb any algorithm. You know
I'm yeah, so
that
thankful.
that's so cool.
And I try to make that clear to everybody. I mean, everybody on my Instagram following right now on the live feed, just to say thank you. Thank you for everyone for everything that they've done, for putting their faith into Idio and the direction and path of Idio. And yeah, just to know that I'm working hard to get everybody their shoes and get through the process and continue forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. And
Absolutely. Before we go any farther, I know we've probably got a few more things to ask and a few more things to talk about. Um, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys shamelessly plug any websites or social medias that you guys have right now for our listeners who might not know about you guys yet. So, both of you, if you could tell us the best places to follow you and see what you're working on most recently.
Yeah, yeah, Jaron, go for it.
Yeah, so the best place you can follow me is my Instagram. That's where I'm the most active. And you can look up Agati underscore movement. Agati is spelled Agati underscore movement.
And what is it that you specialize in? Because I always mess it up.
And me,
Yeah.
it's hard. I normally call myself more of like in the holistic movement specialty. Um, Holistic being like I'm looking at a wider scope of just you gotta do squats in order to get your whatever it is stronger.
right,
So trying to take into account some different things.
And as you guys might know, just follow Idio Sports anywhere. Idio Sports on Instagram, Facebook, idiosports.com. Uh, check us out. And I know we don't have inventory now. It's coming in April, hopefully, if everything holds up to current schedule. Um, I want to thank everybody again for being flexible with me. Sometimes things change, and we're working through a whole lot right now, and with logistics and the current state of our economy, trying
right.
to kind of navigate the waters of logistics and fulfillment, and doing my best. So thank you so much for hanging in and all the support.
Definitely. And I can say without a doubt, it's gonna be worth the wait. You know, it like I don't even have the shoe, and I'm already like a diehard backer. You know,
Hey, yeah, I love it.
but I
Yeah.
and I know there's a lot of people out there that are just as excited as I am. So, um, yeah, to kind of bring in Jarren just a little bit. I got um a specific question. I don't know if it will relate to everybody, but
I'll try to give you a specific answer.
all right. To have you ever watched disc golf form?
I have paid a little bit of attention to it, yeah.
So in your business model, I feel like you could provide a lot of health and wellness part of the form. Maybe not like a critique, as much as like, hey, I noticed this. If you continue to do this, it could hurt or damage this. You know, um, is that something you ever thought about to look into? Because I mean, that is a market.
Yeah, for sure. I almost feel like what you're talking about would be like going into the realm of like sports specific training. And I wouldn't
Hmm.
say that's necessarily my specialty. Um, but let's say, for example, everyone's throwing from their right hip. I can obviously be like, um, I'm not going to show you how to make your shot better, but
Right.
I would show you like how do we even out that asymmetry. So I
Right.
do think there's just a lot of possibility, not only in the sports realm, but just in like um, the overall population. Because you could say the same thing with like a bagger at the grocery store.
Right.
If they're on the same register all the time, they're just going the same direction.
Repetition.
It's kind of like disc golf too. Like you're always throwing and putting in one direction. But I do think that there's a market there in the realm of like pain management and corrective exercise for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
Because I feel like if there were, I don't know, say somebody that came to you and was like, "Hey, I'm throwing, um, but I'm getting after a couple repetitions, I'm getting a certain pain somewhere." You know, like all right, for instance, if I try to do max distance backhand shots, um, over field work over a continued amount of time, I'll get like a pinch somewhat of in my side, and I know that's not just me. There's a lot of people that get that, and I'm wondering, you know, what maybe we could do to counteract that. Um, I have no clue.
Yeah, I think the easiest way to answer that is whichever side is getting the most compression, you need that on the opposite side, and what the opposite side has, the compressed side needs. So
Right.
essentially, a really tight rubber band versus a really relaxed rubber band.
Okay.
Uh, this tightness that you're referring to, is it typically on like your right side or your left side?
Right side. So it would be on the plant side.
Yeah, and that makes sense because humans are in nature asymmetrical. Our organs are shifted asymmetrically. So if you're a human, most of your lung, all of your liver, and a lot of your intestines are on your right side.
Right.
So there's a lot more neurology happening on the right side, and that's why most people are right-handed, right with their right hand, and why people playing disc golf are probably throwing from their right side, unless you have
Right.
a person throwing from their left, which there's a lesser amount of people doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah,
And
so if it was like this tightness on your right side, it would be like, how can we put your body into a position where you can create more expansion, but also using your inhalation and exhalation?
right.
So that's where breath work kind of comes into play too.
It,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's, like for me particularly, with being a thoroughly backhand dominant player, that means I have to throw from that position literally all day long because I might break out the forehand. I've been doing it a little bit more recently. I finally found a form that I can get it out flat, but um, part of the thing that I base my form around, because baseball player background, um, is using your entire body. The more muscles that you can use, the less pressure you're putting on each one of those muscles individually to do the same amount of work. So a lot of times for me, that's how I tend to put my focus when I'm thinking about my form is how can I activate muscles in my body that maybe I wouldn't normally use for this concept of a throw, because it tends to help me get a little more power with a little less effort overall.
It's also why professionals make things look so easy because
Man, right?
every little muscle is working just as much as it needs to be, and it's so effortless.
Yep.
It also kind of depends on what muscles you're consciously activating and which ones you're unconsciously activating. Because you have to kind of make that separation too. Because you could be unconsciously loading your left glute in a point where it shouldn't be loaded. Does that kind of make sense?
Right.
Right.
Moving to what you were saying, Daniel, it sounds like you make a really conscious effort to place tension in places that it needs to be when you're throwing, which is great. But then, is there something else going on somewhere else that needs to actually elongate a little bit more? That
Right.
uh, I don't claim to make anyone's like performance better, but could it potentially actually give you a little more elasticity so you can really project that thing through the forest?
Right.
Right.
Exactly, because it's not just that your body's going to feel better at the end of the round when you're using it properly. It also means that your performance is going to be enhanced simply because you're using your body in a better fashion.
Yeah, and if you're not hurting at the end of the
Yeah,
day, you can
longevity is the big one
There it
here.
is. Yep.
Yeah.
play with your kids at the end of the day.
Yep. Got to stay as young
Yeah.
as you can, as long as you can. You know.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'm not as young as I used to be. When I first started disc golfing, I could throw 4 rounds in one day and feel fine. And now I do 2 rounds in one day for a tournament, and I get home and I'm like, oh gosh, it's an
My
Way
Epsom
massage
salt.
gun.
It's an Epsom salt bath for me tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, no one is as young as they used to be.
That is true. That is true.
We are all the youngest we'll ever be again at this very moment,
It's true.
and again now.
And sad. Okay. So I think we have covered everything about the shoes and the wellness program, and I I love what you guys are doing. That's awesome. Is there anything else that y'all would like to add on to get people to um, maybe like indulge in y'all's content?
No, they
Y'all good?
there's nowhere to follow me.
All right, that works. Well, I guess Daniel, you ready to head on into the little outtakes?
Yeah, we got a few things that happened in disc golf this week. Jarren, I know you're not super into the scene. You're more than welcome to kind of stick around and even talk about a
Absolutely.
couple of topics, because although they're related to disc golf, some of them are more worldly, if you will. And if you have somewhere to be, you're more than welcome to leave as well. But yeah, we're going to go into a couple of things. First thing being Foundation Disc Golf as the company, and a brand, and even the individual aspects of who they are as people. Um, One of the things that they've kind of been, battling more recently, especially in the Twitter world, is that
Everyone's
they're
bad.
being
Twitter.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
Twitter is a battle.
but so they've been battling the concept of being called essentially the TMZ of disc golf. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit tonight, and anybody's more than welcome to kind of jump in if they have anything to say, is their media, and that's all encompassing from their YouTube to their Twitters to their personal accounts, all of that sort of stuff. Is their media good or bad for disc golf?
I personally think that it's good for disc golf because they are willing and not afraid to put out what they think is good content. And TMZ is not a good reference for Foundation, in my opinion, strictly because most of what Foundation posts is not like, it's not slander. It's
Right.
just speculations. There is absolutely nothing wrong with somebody having an opinion or a speculation, and whether somebody wants to take in what they say to heart, that's on them. You know that's not Foundation's worry so much as I would think. I think they do a great job. Um, I truly do. I think they do a good job.
I try not to be hard on anybody for anything, and um, everybody has their thing that they're offering.
Right.
And just like I've got my thing that I'm offering, and I'm not here to say it's for everybody.
Right.
Not
Right.
everything is for everybody, and that's okay.
Right.
Exactly.
Um, it's just it's how we explain our differences and come to discord that matters.
Right.
That's
Nobody
great.
means ill will to anybody. No one's out there to like put anyone down or shut something out. It's just everyone should be allowed to express their side and their opinion and put it out there into the world. And that's how you take it is up to you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And, one of the things that, a lot of the biggest blasts that they've been taking over this course of time where people have started kind of labeling this is that they're just creating more drama than they are really creating media for the sport. But I mean, I completely disagree. I think it's just a good sign that disc golf is growing to the point where people are noticing this kind of stuff because
Mm.
honestly, this kind of stuff has been happening just as often out of a whole bunch of other people for the last few years, but I don't get necessarily why they're being the ones put on blast for this, just because the popularity of the sport has grown so heavily. You
Right.
know, I know that Ricky has obviously had to battle some stuff this off season, especially when it came down to what announcing his sponsors and keeping it quiet and going through all of that effort. But he particularly tweeted out directly at Brody that they're not making disc golf content, they're making disc golf gossip. But disc golf gossip in the off season is really how it should be as a sport is growing, because it's a sign that the sport is growing. When we start taking this sport just as seriously as we take the off season of football or baseball, people are going to be speculating every single signing every year. And I don't see how that's anything but a good thing. I know that
And
there's going to be some people who don't like it and don't agree with it, but if you don't like it, you don't have to pay attention to it. That's the beauty of it. You know what I mean?
yeah, and I'm on your chat right now, actually, too. And I just noticed one of your comments by Preach, and he said that most of what the people that are calling TMZ and stuff like that is the Brody opposition, and
Yeah.
that's probably true. Brody brought a lot of people to the sport, brought a lot of eyes onto the sport, um, which is a really great thing. But some of the people that I would say a lot of the people that are like hashtag slow the sport are probably the ones that are um
Yeah, but we kind of even we're starting to see a little bit more of people who aren't necessarily just the Brody opposition starting to kind of gain in there, because Ricky and Brody are notoriously friendly with each other.
yeah.
They've been tweeting at each other all year long, and when Ricky uses his platform to kind of call them out in that sort of a fashion, I don't think that that's good for anybody at that point in time. You know what I mean? And I know
I
he
kind
has
of
he has
feel
his
the opposite.
he has his opinion and he's allowed to voice that, so I don't disagree with that. But if you're going to create your opinion just because Ricky's your favorite player and he said that, that's what I'm talking about
Right,
specifically.
yeah.
You know,
I
we
do
start kind of
understand that.
seeing a little bit of that, and that's kind of frustrating. But
The way
overall, I think we can all agree that Foundation is doing stuff that's good for disc golf, not
right.
bad for it.
Yeah. That's for sure. All right.
Um, Yeah, and the next topic actually goes a little bit back to Twitter, and this is something that was really interesting. We have spent so much time this offseason talking about the big contracts and how good players are doing and, that sort of thing. And we've had a couple of people kind of talk about, hey, let's not forget you know, that some of these players aren't making these big contracts and they still need your support. So if
Right.
you have favorite players, make sure you're going out and buying the Tour Series discs if you're able to and you can. And so one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I'm not going to mention the account name, you guys can find them just as easily if you want to, but you don't have to. But one of the Innova players actually tweeted out, "Hey, here's my new Tour Series disc. It's going to be on sale soon." And they had a disc golf shop actually tweet directly at them and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, we're not carrying any Innova stuff this year because, um, we think that they should treat their players better and that they need to start forking out some more money for their players. So we're not going to carry your Tour Series disc," is basically what they said in this tweet. Um, what's your reaction to that?
Immediate reaction because I didn't know this. Um, that kind of makes me sad. It's like I I agree that you know, Innova didn't get a good look this offseason.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that that's what's going on behind the scenes. You know,
Right.
I don't think that that shop in particular, whoever it may be, is going to gain anything off of this. I think they will lose off of this.
Yep.
That
Absolutely.
wasn't a smart PR move. It wasn't a wise decision, especially putting any particular player on blast, especially one that is out there trying to grow their brand, trying to do what everybody else in the community is trying to do. You know, that goes for us, that goes for Craig, that goes for Jarren. You know, anybody that's trying to build themselves up or build a brand, you know, when somebody comes at you and is like, I am, you know, just not going to promote you, I'm not going to do anything like that, that's fine. But when you blame it on something else, you know, that's like if I went to Craig and said, I'm not buying your shoes because I don't support shoes. You know what I mean? Like, it's dumb.
Hashtag no shoes club.
Right? You know, it's dumb. So I that's the way
Yeah.
that I immediately felt about it. Now, you know, maybe they dove in deeper on it, but
Yeah.
maybe there's some hatred towards that player in particular because I don't know. But
No, and here's the thing, like for me looking at that is this particular shop had tweeted out a couple of times to let everybody know we're not going to be carrying Innova this year. We don't agree with the business decisions that they're making and we feel that we don't want to support that. And I think that's fine,
then why
but
go on their post?
that's where they exactly what that's where they should have left it because that was a week or two before this had happened.
Yeah.
What was the point of going directly to a player who's just trying to make their dollars so they can continue touring for our enjoyment? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
Not a
but
fan of
anyways,
that.
we'll leave that topic there. Craig,
Do you
I
want
don't
to
know
say anything
how
on
long.
that?
Yeah, if you have something to add.
No, honestly, I didn't know if I would be along this far for this segment,
Right.
and I didn't know it would get so political.
Right. I'm
This is the
sorry.
most political it ever gets.
Yeah.
It was something that I saw. I was like, we have to talk about. I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
All I can do is
Uh,
give you my human answer, which is we can't assume we all know what's going on behind the scenes of everything.
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And so to pass judgment on Innova or the shop or so and so joining the team or whether we support tour series or not or what the deal is. Sitting in our chairs, we just don't know the whole story,
Exactly.
and
Right.
um, everybody makes their own decisions, and they've got their own personal reasons, and I got to respect them for it.
Right.
All
So
right.
Let's
We
get
only got
into a
two more
little bit
things to
more of the
talk about,
fun stuff.
and both of them are super fun topics. Um, Craig, I don't know how long you've been following the pro circuit, but you're more than welcome to join in on this particular one as well if you'd like to. But GK Pro announced about a week or two ago, it was just this last week actually, that they're going to be returning to their skins match series, which we are all super, super excited for, I'm sure. Craig, I don't know if you watch any of the tour skin series at all.
yeah, and I love GK and some of the guys behind GK, and I've had a chance to walk and talk with them for a few days around coverage.
Awesome.
Awesome. So what we're gonna do, this is just gonna be real quick, but I kind of wanted to go into if we could pick 4 players. We'll stick to MPO this week. If you guys want us to do an FPO skins match, we can do that next week. Let us know. But if you could pick 4 players all time and they're in their
All time.
prime competing against each other, who would be the 4 player skin match that you would want GK Pro to make for us? Ethan, I'll let you start.
So I almost witnessed it at the Eagles Crossing, I believe is what it's called.
Right.
You guys join in too. What 4 players would you like to see in a skins match? Put them
Yep.
up.
What 4 players all time MPO would you like to see as your dream skins match? And
Yeah,
my first one is Simon Lizotte because he's just electrifying with his shots. My second one is Nate Sexton. Because I am forehand dominant and I I like the forehand. I like Sexton. And a huge Firebird fan. And then I've seen Paul on skins before, but I don't know if it's like his gameplay is amazing, but I'm kind of looking for those uh entertaining souls, I guess. It's like
Right.
Simon's got the lines, Sexton's always got those like
He's got a quip.
yes, he's always got those little tidbits, that'll get under your skin, and he's just talking to you normally, and I love that. And then I would probably have to go with Avery Jenkins, because we share the same last name, and I actually when I started I was throwing his T-Bird, so I did a lot of watching Avery and seeing his course design stuff. I would love just to see him and Simon on there together, and then to kind of counter Sexton, I think I would probably go Dream, maybe uh probably a Ricky, to be honest. I think, yeah, because Ricky always seems like a just happy-go-lucky. So
Oh,
I,
he's gonna run every single
yeah,
throw.
so
Better. He zeroes in.
yeah, and in skins you can kind of see him like he's still super competitive, but like he kind of lets loose a little more. I feel like too. But yeah, so that would be it for me. Sexton, Avery Jenkins, Simon, and Ricky.
All right. Craig, you got 4 picked out for us?
Yeah, I think modern day Mahara nailed it. Who wouldn't want to see Macbeth and Climo go
I
at it?
know. I thought about that too. I was just like, man.
We're getting whoever we want in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
It would turn into being a world championship, not a skins match.
Exactly. And if you put Ricky in that, you bet there's not going to be any,
Yeah. Oh my
you know,
god. All right. Yeah, that does sound really nice.
Yeah.
he's going to
Oh,
fire up.
man.
Yeah.
He's-
Mm.
Yeah, I got to be honest. My first 2 would be Simon Lizotte and Eagle McMahon. And purely because if you
Bros.
guys have watched any episode that they've done together already, their number 1 goal between the 2 of them is
Is to
to
beat
skunk each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not even beat each other, to skunk, to
each other.
get to give the other player a zero skins match.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I couldn't not go with that. And then, to go back to you over there, Craig, I would love to see a total of 17 world champions on this. So
That
my
would
other
be
2
crazy.
actually, my other 2 would be Climo and Macbeth, because I don't know, you put a 12 time in there against Macbeth, you might start seeing a little more animation and a little more personality out of that skins match.
You might. I can just see Climo smoking a cigarette over there on the tee pad while Paul is driving. Is like, good and young buck,
Dude, he's gonna he's gonna walk up there. He's just gonna be like, watch this.
Oh, I would love it. That would be great. I missed out on that. I shouldn't have went first.
No, but
I stand by my picks though. I do.
But we wanted to hear now, because we got a full answer out of you that wasn't, adjusted by anything we said, and my answer was unadjusted by anything you said. So, yeah, there's that. Super excited for skins matches to return.
Yes.
starting at LVC. And the last thing we have for you tonight, this is not going to take too long. Ethan, you're going to be Eagle McMahon. I'm going to be Calvin Heinberg, and we're going to give our version of the draft. It's going to be live stream, I believe, this Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 Eastern time, something like that. Double check either their website or their Twitter. I know they posted it for sure on their Twitter what time.
And it'll be on Disc Golf Network.
Yeah, and I believe it's on YouTube as well.
Oh, really?
So
I figured it would be behind the paywall.
Nope, no, I'm pretty sure they said YouTube as well. So Eagle McMahon, you are the number one seed, so you get first pick.
All right. So, you got to build your team around the competitions, right? Well, I'm gonna grab Chris Dickerson first.
All right. It's an exhibition, so there's nothing major on the line. Obviously, there's going to be some money, but I know I want to see somebody just do some absolutely ridiculous stuff while giving me a really good chance to do something crazy. I think there's even an outside chance he might win the putting competition because his jump putt is immaculate, and I'm hoping that those long distance putts are really gonna give him a little bit of an edge, even though he's not the best putter in this market here. I'm gonna go with Kevin Jones.
I figured you would do Kevin. So wait, what? Okay. I just got the message. I'm so sorry. But so yeah.
I got something wrong when I was talking about it. I was like, as a coach, I can't like give out misinformation. So
I respect it. I do. I'm looking for the whole list.
I have a screenshot of it. I can send it to you.
I do know that. There we go. All right. So I'm taking Kyle Klein as my second.
Interesting choice.
Yes.
Interesting choice.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna peace out of here. Thanks for having me on.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Jarren.
So much. We really appreciate it.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go with. It's a hard pick. Adam Hammis. He was too good last year. Too good not to
His
take.
putting is on fire right now.
Yeah. And I don't have a Eagle McMahon forehand on my team yet, so
very true.
Adam Hammis will give me somewhere close at least.
Okay, so I'm gonna go with a Conrad, Mr. James Conrad.
Okay, I'm gonna take Matt Oram.
Matty O.
I got to take Matty O because I got to get somebody who's gonna kill the precision competition.
Right. See, that's smart.
Matteo's taking that precision competition. I guarantee it.
See, yeah.
And
maybe.
I've already accepted the loss on the distance competition because you're Eagle McMahon. So
yeah. See,
yeah.
So I have an outside chance for putting, and
I'm gonna take Drew for the precision.
Ooh.
Okay. Drew Gibson.
Yep, Drew Gibson for precision. I thought about the putting, but I'm gonna run with Dickerson and Conrad as that.
Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna start thinking about how the actual rounds themselves are going to play out now.
Don't count out Ezra on that distance comp.
Yeah, I was thinking
That's
about
your chance. I feel like
that. I thought about that, but I'm just gonna take the L there because I think I've got an outside chance at putting. I've definitely got precision with Matteo. I'm almost thoroughly convinced he's gonna take that hands down. I'm gonna take Nico Lacastro. Not the best player in the field, but he's fiery in the heat of competition, and I think he's gonna help me out in a doubles match.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I'm gonna go with the young. I don't know. One of my main discs is an Ezra Nuke. how can I not pick Ezra? But I just feel like for what I'm building, Gannon Burr is who I need.
All right. All right. Now you give me an outside chance at the distance competition too.
I know that was dumb of me.
So,
but
I'm gonna go ahead
I
and
just
I'm gonna take him
mm-hmm.
because I'll tell you what, on out there on that course, and I don't know what the layout looks like. Obviously, if they do something similar to last year, um, especially in the doubles format, that is going to give Ezra a chance to really go big.
Mm-hmm.
Could definitely see him getting out there and throwing down some big shots on those extended holes if they do another Safari 9-hole layout.
Right. And that was the same exact reason that I took Gannon, like to the T, for the doubles format.
All right.
Yeah.
So that should be it. How does
Boy, I would. Can you imagine?
how's it stack up? What do we got as teams? Be
All right.
official. You got
So
them written down.
yep, I got them written down. So the Eagle team is Eagle, Chris Dickerson, Kyle Klein, James Conrad, Drew Gibson, and Gannon Burr. And the Calvin Heimberg team is Calvin, Kevin, Matteo, Hamas, Nico, and Ezra.
Ooh,
I know.
that would be a good matchup. I don't know the draft's gonna look like that, but that would be a good draft.
We need to put it out there somewhere. That way we're like, hey, if this happened, we called
Yeah,
it.
I think I'll try to, or if you can maybe try to make like a graphic and send it over to me, and I'll get it on Twitter and do a poll. Craig,
Hey,
you can be the first person to vote. Who do you think's taking down the All-Star week? What team do you think's taking down the All-Star weekend?
out of your teams?
Yep.
Yeah, out of what we drafted.
Ooh.
So we'll give you the breakdown. It's you have putting competition, precision throwing competition, distance competition. Each one of those is worth 1 point.
Yeah.
And then the doubles matches is going to be worth 1 point for the best total, I believe. And then the singles, individual singles, worth 1 point. So a total of 5 points to get, I believe, could be wrong. There might be a couple more points added, but 5 points to get there in those competitions.
I'm liking your team with Nico on it.
Yeah, buddy.
I think it's pretty rounded.
Yeah, it is a very rounded team.
He had to drop out last second last year too, and you know he's going to be pretty fired up to be there this year after having to drop out last year.
He's throwing Gateway now, so that might be a little fire too.
Is that officially confirmed?
That's official.
I didn't see that.
Yep, it was very low key official.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've had a lot of stuff going on this week, so it's quite possible if there's only one or two.
There wasn't like a big sponsorship announcement. It was literally just he's been at the warehouse throwing Gateway. So,
all right,
yeah,
Nico's got some great precision too.
He does. That's who I would have. It would be hard. The way that on Daniel's team, it would be hard not to put Kevin and Hamas in the putting.
Yep.
You know, but Nico is very good at putting too. You know.
Yeah.
Well, and Orm's a good putter too.
He is. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
again,
everybody on this list.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know, everybody on this list made the All-Stars for a reason.
Right.
But as far as like strengths, your team is probably more on the accuracy precision side, whereas mine's like young guns. You know, there's like, I mean, we've got Eagle,
the big flyer team,
Gannon, and Drew. You know that are all just bombers. But Drew has great precision, great accuracy. Conrad's got great putting. Dickerson, I could probably swap him between precision or putting.
He'll fit pretty much anywhere.
Have you been down to the Arizona course, Craig?
No.
No.
No, I'm.
What it's gonna look like?
Yeah. I'm debating on if I should head down there this weekend or not. To be honest.
Especially if you're gonna be announcing.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I was waiting on all my vending material to get here and stuff, but it's hasn't all quite shown up yet, so I
Right.
didn't reserve any space for vending or anything like that. But it'd still be a good one to head to, and such a fun event too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as far as the sponsorship goes, can you at least tell us if it's MPO or FPO that this player is going to be?
Well, I've got some of both coming up.
Let's
So
go.
All right,
Let's go.
go.
building a team. That's right.
I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Me too.
all you gotta do is, come around April, what, early April is when Music City open. If you want to fly down here, we'll treat you to a good time. We'll
Yeah.
make
Where are
sure.
you?
I am in Middle Tennessee. I'm only like 40 miles east of Nashville. He is in East Tennessee.
I'm over on Knoxville side.
Yeah, but yeah. So
Yeah. It'd be
the
fun.
Music City Open courses are all my home courses.
Nice.
Yep.
I
Except
don't have
Nice.
any cool home courses.
yeah, in my
Yeah.
area there's disc golf courses everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm in like an empty spot, and I'm trying to get one installed currently.
Let's go. Growing
I've
the
got it
sport.
all laid out and already kind of like played the positions and in contact with the property management owner and everything, trying to get something down here because there's nothing for at least 35 minutes in any direction from me, and it's just kind of a drag.
Right.
But
Yeah.
just one of those like personal, but also like business goals is to get something local, and raise some more awareness in the area. But
Yeah, and put your name all over that course.
Oh, for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
tournaments, host some tournaments, and
Yeah.
do some cool like player packs and whatnot. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
that, that would be really cool.
Uh, you ever get a poster or anything, you send it my way. I'll put it up. I'll do it.
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah,
But
we'll put them. My wall's pretty empty right now. I don't have as much
yeah,
on my
I
wall
think he
yet.
needs it a little worse than I do. But yeah, no, we're all about growing the sport, growing the businesses that help grow the sport. Um, and we really appreciate what you do. Um,
Thanks.
and
I appreciate it.
I think this has been a great, really eye-opening um podcast for a lot of people. It's helped me. Um,
I'm glad. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
glad you got some
Yeah,
good information.
got some
Like
relief.
Jarren's, he's not really in the disc golf business. He's in the,
Right,
physical rehabilitation sort of training and coaching side of things.
right.
And he's my brother. I don't know if we actually disclosed that, but
I don't think I did, but I should have, and
so,
I am sorry.
but he can still give a pretty good perspective as to if there's imbalances in movement and body
Mhm.
composition and things. It doesn't matter if it's what sport or what activity or what habit it's from. There's
yeah,
a way to dissect it. But so yeah, that was cool to get him on. Just a little,
It
you
was.
know,
I really
absolutely. I
enjoyed.
mean,
yeah,
yeah,
he's not involved with Idio or anything like that, but he definitely has some knowledge that he could help some people.
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
this
And
was
I mean,
very informative.
we've seen a lot of players put a focus on taking care of their bodies, particularly this year. There have been a lot of players who have really talked
Yeah,
about
absolutely,
taking care of their bodies in the right ways. So,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we're starting to treat disc golf as a little more of like an actual athletic event as opposed to, you
hobby.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it
yeah, for
definitely
sure.
is. And if we plan on doing it long into the future, we're gonna have to take care of ourselves.
Yep.
absolutely.
Hopefully, do it before it's too late. That's
Mhm.
maybe it's never too late, but
It definitely makes it easier the
yeah,
earlier you go.
exactly. That's where I was trying to go. But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, so just a big thank you to Idio Sports Craig for coming on this show with us. Um, thank you for all the listeners that have been over on his Instagram side. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Thank you to all of our viewers for hanging out, interacting, giving us your comments. We hope to keep continuing to get that support from you guys. Really appreciate it.
yep. You guys are awesome, and be sure to go listen to us over at Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google, whatever it may be. We're there. And definitely go give Craig over at Idio Sports Disc Golf Footwear a follow on all of his socials. And we do appreciate you guys. And y'all have a great night. This is us signing off. Laters.
Peace.
Thank you, everyone.